This morning, the final farewell. Pope John Paul II laid to rest with an estimated 2 billion people watching worldwide. Kings and presidents, cardinals and commoners gather to mourn at the Vatican. Ahead, the moments, the meaning, the power of prayer, the funeral for the people's Pope. Charles Gibson coming to you again from our perch overlooking Vatican City. I have on this headset so that I could hear over all the noise of the funeral mass that was just completed here in St. Peter's Square. Back in New York, of course, is Robin Roberts and Diane Sawyer, and we will be going back to them in just a few moments. This is an extraordinary ceremony that we saw because there were representatives of so many nations here, nations who have never come to a funeral for the Pope before, but it bespeaks the fact that John Paul II had such an enormous reach around the world and had such an effect on all the world. There was a moment during the service when it was peace be with you, and all the world leaders stood, shook hands, hugged one another, and, well, you thought, would that happened more often. But it was a service of, well, a very simple service in many respects. High Mass, of course, but the same kind of service that would be received for any Catholic who died. There are parts of the service today that we did not see. Pope John Paul being put inside his simple cypress coffin. That was before he was brought out into St. Peter's Square for the service. And we are not seeing now the entombment of John Paul. But to give us some sense of what happened during the service itself, we turn to Terry Moran.
Charlie, what a remarkable morning it's been here in Rome. You can't help but think that John Paul II himself would have enjoyed it, may have indeed enjoyed it. It was a day of prayer and tears here and around the world. The bells of St. Peter's tolled out across Rome this morning as the powerful and the pilgrims gathered for the funeral mass of John Paul II. Presidents, princes, leaders of other religions, young and old, all here to say farewell. Then the body of the Pope in a simple coffin made of cypress was carried out of the basilica and laid before the crowd. A Bible rested on top, its pages blowing freely in the strong spring breeze. The cardinals, the princes of the church, took their places. Huge screens, 27 of them set throughout the city, brought the Mass to the 2 million pilgrims who've come to Rome, and all around the world, the faithful watched. A parish church in Chicago, a park in the Philippines, a vast field in Poland outside John Paul's beloved city of Krakow. For the Pope who had traveled the world, a service in many languages, English, Spanish, Swahili, Polish. Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, Dean of Cardinals and one of the Pope's closest advisors, spoke of John Paul's lifelong commitment to the very end.
None of us can ever forget how, on that last Easter Sunday of his life, the Holy Father, marked by suffering, came once more to the window of the Apostolic Palace, and one last time gave his blessing, Urbi et Orbi. We can be sure that our beloved Pope is standing today at the window of the Father's house, that he sees us and blesses us.
As he finished, the crowd chanted, "Saint now," spontaneously demanding that John Paul be canonized immediately. At times it seemed all of Rome was praying as the streets filled with the sound of the Lord's Prayer in so many languages. And there was this remarkable scene: world leaders, some allies, some enemies, all exchanging a greeting of peace, a peace John Paul urged them to make and to keep. The Mass drew to a close, and the crowd once more spoke as one. Over and over, they chanted his name. They waved their flags and banners. They said goodbye. And finally, after all the prayers and blessings, John Paul II, born Karol Wojtyła of Poland, who became in many ways the first citizen of the world, made his last journey to rest in peace in St. Peter's. And it may be a strange thing to say of a funeral, but somehow this seemed life-affirming, this mass pilgrimage, so many people coming to say farewell to this Pope who seemed so full of life. Charlie?
Well, indeed, as Cardinal Ratzinger, Terry, said in his homily, we come in grief, but we come in hope as well. And I want to turn to Cokie Roberts, who has been with me for the last 3.5 hours as we have watched this funeral mass. And Cokie, now with Pope John Paul being taken and entombed in the bottom of St. Peter's Basilica, that's not the end of what's going to go on here. Indeed, attentions turn here in Rome, and there's a very set schedule ahead.
Indeed, the Pope is being buried now, and then it is on to the next papacy, and we will have 9 days of mourning with masses being said in various churches around, including in St. Mary Major, where Cardinal Law is going to be saying the Mass, and there's some upset about that. Right. What we're looking at here is the St. Peter's, where the Vatican grottos will be receiving the Pope, and he will be there as his final resting place. But then on it goes to the conclave and the decision about the next Pope. 9
days of services, yes, late in the afternoon for all the cardinals to attend, but during the day, chances to meet one another, discuss where they feel the church should go prior to the conclave beginning a week from Monday, with all the cardinals gathering to vote in the Sistine Chapel.
And meeting one another is a nice way of saying politicking, even though it's, you know, it's unseemly. There are people running for Pope now.
Indeed there are, and that will play out over not just the next 9 days as they quote politic unquote, but once the voting begins, the conclave begins in the Sistine Chapel. We know not how long it will last, because we don't know how many ballots will be necessary to get a 2/3 majority, which is needed to choose a new Pope. Well, this crowd you can see still lingering in St. Peter's Square. Kate Snow has been amongst those who have gathered here throughout the day. Kate?
Well, good morning again, Charlie. I've got an American with me, actually. His name is Tony Billiver, and you've been living here for about 7 years in Rome.
Since 1998, yeah.
And you've just witnessed this incredible moment. How will you remember this for the rest of your life?
It's going to be a positive memory. I always thought I had a very high respect for John Paul II, and just seeing this, being part of this sort of this mass of humanity that came to pay tribute to the Pope was an amazing experience.
Your feelings as they took the coffin away inside the church?
Less sadness than a few days ago, more sort of, you know, may he rest in peace, and it was, you know, a long and I guess fruitful life, and it was more a feeling of closure and sort of amazing person to have lived in the same time period with.
You're from Cleveland, Ohio originally, but you're Croatian American.
Yes.
What about the crowd here? It's just been so interesting how many people have come from so many different places, Croats as well.
Yeah. Croats specifically had an affinity for the Pope. I think he visited 3 times, and he was instrumental in the recognition. But I think the Poles were the best. I mean, it was their Pope. He was sort of their favorite son, and so many came.
So many of them. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Charlie, we'll go back to you.
Thanks very much, Kate. Want to turn to Bill Blakemore, who, as we have said through the morning, has covered this papacy since its inception, covered 2 papal funerals in 1978, and therefore had a unique perspective on this one, and has a unique perspective on one person who was here attending this funeral, probably with more emotion than anyone else. Bill?
Indeed, Charlie, it was amazing for everyone here to watch that coffin disappear for the last time, to watch John Paul disappear for the last time into the church, the flags, the Polish flags, and all the others waving goodbye to him for the last time. But there was one archbishop here for whom it was especially personal.
Stanisław Dziwisz was John Paul's faithful personal assistant for 38 years, since 12 years before John Paul became Pope. When John Paul died, his hands were clasped in the hands of Stanisław Dziwisz. From the day the Pope died, Dziwisz was seen praying by the Pope's body, morning, noon, and night. For 26 years, almost every time we saw John Paul, we saw Dziwisz at his side, but never speaking. Dziwisz caught John Paul in his arms when the Pope was shot. He comes from the same mountains of southern Poland as John Paul, just higher up in the mountains, and he was the better skier. In the Pope's last years, Dziwisz became the gatekeeper, controlling access. Some in the Vatican resented him for it. It's Vatican tradition, when a pope dies, his close aides are immediately out of a job. There is little for Dziwisz to do except bury his great friend and go home to Poland.
This morning, Archbishop Dziwisz in St. Peter's Basilica is saying his last goodbye. Charlie?
All right, thanks, Bill Blakemore. Going to turn next to Father Cliff Ermatinger. I hope I pronounce your name, sir, right? Because we've never met. Father?
Father Cliff Ermatinger, right.
Okay, thank you very much. He is from Chicago, and as we mentioned earlier in the morning, more Poles in Chicago than in any other city from Warsaw. He lives here in Rome, but is a priest from Chicago. And you had a unique perspective on this crowd, Father, because I understand you were out taking confession for many of those who would be gathering in St. Peter's Square today.
Exactly. I arrived yesterday afternoon around 4:30 or so, and I was hearing confession all night long for about 13, 14 hours straight. And it was beautiful. It was nonstop. Most of the penitents were young, very enthusiastic, and at the same time very sorrowful to hear, well, the passing of their spiritual father into eternity. They felt somewhat alone, and at the same time, they also felt a new responsibility, right? That they have this faith, and now they have to live up to it. They were supported so long by the Holy Father, and now it's up to them. Something was left in their hands, and so they're confessing, some for the first time in a long time, others regular penitents, renewing their friendship with Christ. It was beautiful.
And I wonder if you were struck, as were all of us, at how young this crowd is.
Well, struck, yes. Surprised, no. Not surprised, because this has been simply the hallmark of this papacy, right? John Paul II has known how to communicate the message of Christ to the youth, and they see that in him. They saw that in him. He was the one who initiated the World Youth Day, bringing together millions, literally millions of youth together, not about him. He was bringing them to Christ, and they appreciated that. And he spoke clearly about the truth. He spoke to them about what it meant to be a faithful Catholic in a society that presents certain obstacles, and it's difficult to live up to this calling. It's a high calling, and he spoke clearly, and they appreciated that, and they're responding to it, and they will continue to respond to it, I think.
And what percentage would you guess agree with his positions on so many issues, like priests marrying, or like abortion, or like birth control, etc.? Well, do you think young people agree with him, or do you think they simply admire his absolutism?
Right, I understand what you're saying. It's not a question here of sterile admiration of a personality. They're not coming for a concert or a Woodstock thing. They're coming because they're hearing the truth, and they appreciate that. My perspective as a spiritual director, my perspective as a confessor, people opening up their souls, talking about the most intimate difficulties that they have, their trials, their struggles. I'm not finding people who want a different agenda. I'm not finding people who want to change the teachings of the church. Rather, they're finding that what the church is teaching is fulfilling to them. We're weak, and because we're weak, we have this sacrament of confession to start again and come out newly made.
Well, Father Ermatinger, I appreciate your being with us. Thanks ever so much for joining us here, just in the wake, or just at the end, I should say, of the Pope's funeral. Let's go back to New York and Diane.
Well, Charlie, Robin and I have been talking about the fact this morning that, when the Pope died the last time, 30 years ago almost, there was a telegram that went out that said, "The Pope is dead. Come at once," to all the cardinals. This morning, 2 billion people around the world are watching on television, not to mention the websites that are everywhere. We'll take a look now at Chicago's 5 Holy Martyrs Church. You see it there. It has the largest concentration of Poles in the world outside of Warsaw, and the Polish-born pontiff celebrated Mass here each time he visited Chicago in 1969, 76, and then again as Pope in 79.
And also, Diane, at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary in Wynwood, Pennsylvania, where the Pope also visited in 1979, and abroad, Rizal Park in the Philippines, where 4 million people jammed for John Paul's youth Mass in 1995, the Pope's largest audience until today, of course.
So let's go to Krakow, Poland, because, of course, no one more passionate than the people who live there. And ABC's Jim Sciutto is joining us live.
Diane, there is some singing here now, but from the very beginning of the service to the very end, you could hear a pin drop here in Krakow, interrupted only occasionally by the whispered commentary, the whispered translation in Polish over the loudspeakers as people watch the service on these big television screens behind me. But silence is the way that Poles chose to say goodbye to this Pope. There was no applause when you heard it in Rome. There was no singing. There was no chanting of Sancto, Sancto here. And in fact, there were no tears. We saw those tears on Saturday and Sunday as the news broke. There were no tears today. Silence was their form of respect, and even we saw signs of hope. Many people here today wearing white, which was a gesture because the Pope wore white in his robes, but also a gesture of hope today. And the only time we heard sound was at the very end, a little bit of applause as people said their finally goodbye to the Pope they love so much. Diane?
All right, Jim, thanks to you. And we'll return with some of the vivid moments from today later on. But we're going to get a check of the rest of the day's headlines now with Robin. Robin?
All right, Diane. Arthritis sufferers have fewer treatment choices this morning following the decision to pull Bextra off the market. Pfizer pulled it under pressure from the FDA. Bextra is a COX-2 drug like the previously withdrawn Vioxx. Here's ABC's Lisa Stark.
Arthritis patient Ken MacGyver stopped using Bextra a few months ago, concerned about the reports of a possible heart attack risk.
If there are certain side effects that are going to affect your body, moving on to something else is probably the right thing to do.
Now there is only one so-called COX-2 inhibitor still on the market, Celebrex. But the FDA has ordered Celebrex and a number of older prescription pain relievers to carry the strongest warning possible, a black box warning for increased risk of heart attack and gastrointestinal bleeding. Even the over-the-counter forms of some of these drugs will have stronger cautions for patients.
They shouldn't be doubling and tripling the doses. They need to follow the instructions for both the over-the-counter and the prescription drugs.
Doctors who treat pain say patients need to use all of these drugs carefully.
We try to find the best and lowest dose of a drug for them as we possibly can.
The FDA has also warned drug companies and any advertisements for these drugs, they must include the new, stronger warnings. For Good Morning America, Lisa Stark, ABC News, Washington.
A Texas man is being arraigned this morning accused of shooting and critically wounding his son's high school football coach. Jeffrey Robertson was captured after apparently trying to kill himself. Students say his son was banned from school sports a day before the shooting. The father had been barred from the school following earlier conflicts with coaches and parents. At the Michael Jackson trial, the defense resumes cross-examination today after graphic testimony that led Jackson's mother to leave the courtroom. A former Neverland security guard testified he saw Jackson perform a sex act on a preteen boy. Another witness, a former maid, swore she saw Jackson act inappropriately with 3 boys. And we're getting new details about tomorrow's wedding of Britain's Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles. According to British papers, the couple will acknowledge their, quote, sins and wickedness during the ceremony. More, much more on the royal wedding coming up. And that is a first look at the news at 7:18. The first look at the weather. Let's go outside at Tony Perkins. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Robin, and good morning, everybody. Let's get right to it, show you what's happening across the nation this morning. We're seeing some strong storms in southern Florida this morning with heavy rain. The chance for more storm activity will exist there later today, and more scattered storms in the mid-Atlantic region. The rain in the northeast is diminishing. Warm conditions in the central U.S. and dry conditions. We've got more mountain snow out to the west and along the west coast. From central California northward, more precipitation in the form of rain and some snow. That's a look what's happening with the weather around the nation. Now here's what's happening in your neighborhood.
Thanks, Tony. Good morning, everybody. It's a great Friday. Weather-wise, going to be a wonderful, wonderful weekend. It is a bit chilly outside, though. 36 in Detroit, as cool as 29 in Flint and Ann Arbor, as well, and 32 in Mount Clemens right now. So grab the warmer coat this morning, but the sun is out. It will be out all day long. Clouds already to our southeast continue to move away from us. Clouds out to the west will stay well to the west of us. Sunshine today, 60. Sunshine tomorrow, 63. And mostly sunny Sunday, 65.
And that's your first look at weather. Diane and Robin, back to you.
All right, thanks, Tony. We're going to take another live shot, if we can now, of Rome. And I was so struck, Robin, by the crowd suddenly deciding as one thought to cheer.
The standing ovation that we saw at the end, and also the Holy Communion, to see that many people taking communion. There's so many moments this morning.
And of course, we'll have a lot more on the Pope's funeral when we come back. Coming up on Good Morning America, the royal wedding tomorrow. Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles. And the palace faces a major security surprise. And the warden's wife held hostage by an escaped murderer for 11 years. Incredible new details ahead.
On May 6th, Ridley Scott, the director of Gladiator, Protect the Defenseless. Whatever you ask, I will serve. Brings us the story. Give me a war. That is what I do. That changed the world forever.
We defend this city, not to protect these stones, but the people living within these walls.
Kingdom of Heaven. This film not yet rated.
I want to tell you about something that will change the way you think about the foods you eat. Foods like stir-fry, pasta, chicken, you name it. It's new Innova oil. It's made from natural soy and canola. What makes Innova oil special? Compared to other vegetable oils, less Innova oil is stored in the body as fat. So Innova oil can help you maintain a healthy lifestyle. Want to make a change for the better? You know what to do. Switch to new Innova oil.
After Dad's stroke, we found out his insurance would let us take care of him here at home. He likes it better here. Right, Dad?
Food's better.
Long-term care insurance from Mutual of Omaha.
Socializing not much.
Begin today.
His old allergy medicine left him in a fog. Now, he's Claritin Clear. Claritin relieves the sneezing and itchy eyes without making him drowsy or jittery. With Claritin, he's in the game, not in a fog. Discover Claritin for children and let your kids live Claritin Clear.
Every single meal is a hit. He's an amazing cook.
The way I like to cook is all creative. I never follow recipes. The best flavor comes from fresh ingredients. And I wouldn't cook with anything besides fresh foods. And you find the best quality of meats, of produce.
Everything I need for a great price.
Oh, definitely at Walmart. Well, it's all about having good food and good friends to share with them.
Great friends to share it with, definitely. We're the LeVays, and our Walmart is in Raleigh, North Carolina.
You didn't catch live? See all the fun you missed?
I can't reach.
See what Regis and Kelly are up to next. We've got Denzel Washington plus Fran Drescher next live.
Today at 9 on 7.
This weekend, during Sale on a Sale, discover more at Gorman Southfield. World-class contemporary at store-wide savings. Plus, we pay your sales tax. Sale on a Sale this weekend from Michigan's leader in contemporary furniture. That's Gorman Southfield.
Rock Financial is Michigan's largest mortgage company because of two reasons. One, the innovative programs that we bring to the market and the exclusivity of those programs, like the new Smart 30, a 30-year fixed loan with an interest-only option. And you can lock in to a low fixed rate, cut your payment by hundreds a month.
I'm saving between $500 to $600 a month.
Mortgage experts are available. You can call right now, 800-333-ROCK.
I tell everyone to go through Rock, simply because I had such a wonderful experience.
From room to room and floor to floor. Mr. Fix-It gives you more.
Now a custom kitchen or bath starting at $68.95. That's $68.95 for a new bath or kitchen. And save $500 more. Watch the mail for your Mr. Fix-It coupons.
Oh, from room to room and floor to floor. Mr. Fix-It gives you more.
You'll be seeing double with savings on top of savings during the Sale on a Sale at Gorman's. Fabulous store-wide savings. Plus, Gorman's pays your sales tax. This weekend only. The remarkable Sale on a Sale at Gorman's.
All new, spoiled, disrespectful, irresponsible. This 18-year-old blew $29,000. Her mother has had it. Maria and her mother, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, share their secrets next Oprah.
Today at 4 on 7. From Channel 7, this is an Action News update.
Good morning, everybody. It is 7:24 as you get up and get going on this Friday morning.
Mourners this morning filled the Shrine of the Little Flower in Royal Oak to honor Pope John Paul II. Action News reporter Bill Proctor has been in and outside the church with more on the service.
It gets kind of eerie watching it, but we're thankful we have the opportunity because we did visit the Pope in person at in 1999, or yeah 99. Well, we were in Rome and we had an audience with the Pope, and he said Mass for us.
I think the readings were very appropriate and seemed to talk right about John Paul. And I had an opportunity to see him in Rome last summer, and he has just lived out the gospel and inspired us.
And it was inspiring here at the Shrine of the Little Flower this morning. The Monsignor here, surprised to see as many as 125 people, some of them knocking on the door at 2:45 this morning. But for them, a very moving service, and they were happy to be here to share these moments together. Reporting live in Royal Oak, Bill Proctor, Channel 7 Action News.
All right, thank you much, Bill. And make sure you stay with Action News for complete coverage of the Pope's passing. Mary Conway will have live reports throughout the day from the Vatican.
Well, on this rather, I guess, reflective morning, we have a pretty nice day shaping up. We'll get the weather details
when we come right back. Don't go away.
It's all about real news.
Channel 7 Action News.
There's a real difference.
We know what matters.
News that's useful.
We hustle.
And we care about people.
Real news.
Detroit's most trusted news.
Channel 7 Action News.
Always on your side.
Disney's Beauty and the Beast. A musical extravaganza, bursting with spectacular illusions, dazzling production numbers, and memorable songs. Bring someone you love. Be thrilled. Be moved. Be our guest.
Opens Tuesday through Sunday the 17th at the Fox Theater.
See Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
Get your tickets now at the box office, olympiaentertainment.com, or charge by phone.
Need new flooring but think you can't afford it? Here's good news. Now you can save big on quality flooring thanks to Empire Today's Warehouse Direct Prices. Just call 800-588-2300 and we'll bring samples of laminate and hardwood flooring right to your home and install next day. Plus no payments till April 2006. Even get a free gift. For quality flooring you can afford, call Empire today.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today. Beauty Shop is the #1 comedy in America. An endless source of laughter raves the LA Times. Queen Latifah is hilarious. Perfect. It's pure feel-good fun. Beauty Shop, rated PG-13, now playing.
Mega Millions from the Michigan Lottery. The jackpot's building. And soon it will rain millions.
Good morning, everybody. Going to be a wonderful, wonderful weekend, although, like this morning, the mornings will be a bit on the chilly side. Some might even call it cold. It's in the upper 20s at a few areas like Flint at 29, 29 for Ann Arbor, right at the freezing mark in Mount Clemens, but a little bit warmer. And Detroit 36 and Windsor's at 37, same thing in Monroe. So be a bit patient. The sun is going to warm things up very quickly, but the first few steps outside for the first few hours here will be a bit on the cold side. 89% for the humidity. Sunshine is out there now. 30.05 on the pressure. It should rise a little bit today. North winds at 5 miles per hour. They shouldn't be too terribly strong as we go along on this Friday. Look at these highs, upper 50s and lower 60s from Troy all the way down to South Rockwood, looking great. In Detroit, sunshine all day long, not a cloud in the sky. Northeast winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour and 60 degrees for the top temperature. Looking ahead now to the rest of the weekend, it looks wonderful as well. 63 on Saturday with sunshine. And again, look at the morning lows down to the 30s, but slowly warming up as we get to Sunday morning, low temperature of 39. I think there'll be a few clouds in the afternoon on Sunday, but still tons and tons of sunshine. And that trend will continue into the early part of next week as well. 61 on Monday, mostly sunny skies. And we start to pick up a few more clouds on Tuesday, and temperatures calm down a little bit in the 50s. Keep in mind, normal high is in the mid-50s. You don't see any of those here. So even though the mornings might be a bit on the cool side, the afternoons are going to warm up, and the sun is going to stick around. This is a very, very, very good thing. So if you've got plans outside, looks great. Although the frost on the ground will remind you guys, it's a little early for the plants still.
So don't get too excited, huh?
You're telling us the fat lady hasn't sung yet.
Not quite. Not quite. Well, Good Morning America is going to continue now with more on the Pope, of course.
Yes, that's spectacular coverage this morning.
It has been. Yes,
We'll see you right back here with more local stuff in 25.
Good morning, America. I'm Charles Gibson, reporting this morning from Vatican City. We overlook St. Peter's Square here, where just concluded is Pope John Paul's funeral. The body was brought into the square after being placed in a simple cypress coffin. We've talked often about the fact that this was a funeral of the powerful and the people, the cardinals and the commoners, and many times it was the people in the square and up and down the streets surrounding St. Peter's Square that really took over this funeral. They began applauding at times and chanting the name John Paul, and Saint now, the feeling that this man should be made a saint so soon. It was an extraordinarily beautiful sight as you looked at the pictures from helicopters of all the dignitaries, the cardinals gathered, and the Pope's body lying in such a simple coffin in front of the altar. And then all the people in St. Peter's Square, the dignitaries, the priests, the bishops, all of whom had gathered here. The service was performed by Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger of Germany. He is the dean of the College of Cardinals, saying in his homily that this is a gathering in great sadness. Our hearts are full of sadness, he said, yet at the same time, we have joyful hope and profound gratitude. It was a high mass, but the same mass that any Catholic would receive at burial. What was so extraordinary was the gathering here. World leaders from 100 nations, including from the Eastern Orthodox churches. There was an ecumenical flair to it, not seen perhaps before at funerals for popes. And the crowd was extraordinarily respectful throughout. When the service was concluded, the body was borne back into St. Peter's Basilica to be encased in 2 more coffins to prevent deterioration of the body, and he will be buried down in the grotto, in the crypt below St. Peter's Basilica. It was an extraordinary service seen at such an early hour in the United States, but by literally hundreds of millions worldwide. And as we say, at times the crowd seemed to take over this service. David Wright was down in St. Peter's Square throughout the service. David?
Charlie, it was really like a mass, like no other mass I have ever seen. All of that pageantry up on the steps of St. Peter's, and here an enormous congregation. 300,000 people estimated to have been packed here into St. Peter's Square, and another million or so lining the streets leading out of this square. You could hear people listening in their native languages on transistor radios, and when familiar prayers would come up in the liturgy, you would hear it in French, English, Spanish, and of course Polish. Lots of Polish. And we've been surrounded all morning long by thousands of people who came a great distance, slept on the streets just to be here today to share this moment with a man who reached out to them, and they're reaching back.
Thanks very much, David Wright, reporting down from in St. Peter's Square. And there was a very moving moment when the body was taken back inside the Basilica. The crowd, almost as one, just began waving. We've talked about John Paul, the superstar, and John Paul almost as if he had a rock star's appeal to people, but those waves, almost reminiscent of huge gatherings of young people, very moving as the body was taken into St. Peter's Basilica and John Paul II left St. Peter's Square for the last time. Let's go back to New York now, and Robin and Diane.
It's a morning we won't soon forget, everyone. Well, other news this morning to tell you about. We have an update on an amazing story we have been following. The warden's wife, who says she was held hostage by an escaped killer for 11 years. You're going to hear the chilling story she told one female deputy sheriff.
And of course, one of the mourners at the Pope's funeral was Prince Charles of England. And as we look ahead in this half hour, we remind you that the nuptials of Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles will be tomorrow. Of course, we know they were postponed today because of the Pope's funeral. And ABC's Nick Watts joins us now from Windsor Castle, where the service of blessing that follows the wedding ceremony will take place. Nick?
Good morning, Diane. Now, a palace official has told us proudly that it's not been straightforward, but they've done it. The wedding will take place tomorrow, a day later than planned. 20 guests who were supposed to be here can't make it because of the date change, but 4 others who couldn't make it today can come tomorrow. Almost 800 guests are expected at the blessing and reception here at Windsor Castle.
The date change, was it frightfully inconvenient?
Slightly. I had to postpone a barbecue, but it wasn't too difficult to do, yeah.
Prime Minister Tony Blair and the Archbishop of Canterbury will hurry back from Rome this afternoon, along with the groom himself. Meanwhile, webcams broadcast the last-minute goings-on back in Windsor around the globe. After a newspaper reporter drove a van carrying a package marked bomb into the castle, police are taking no chances, searching all pre-wedding deliveries.
Perhaps it's a useful wake-up call, but I would not have expected my organisation to need a wake-up call.
Charles and Camilla have revealed the fire and brimstone prayer for the blessing, printed in newspapers this morning. We acknowledge and bewail our manifold sins and wickedness, they will say, and are heartily sorry. Is this Charles asking forgiveness for cheating on Princess Diana? Wild speculation about Camilla's Robinson Valentine designed dress continues.
I would imagine that Camilla will go for a full-length column of crepe silk. I think she'll go for a butterscotch toffee kind of shade.
No one but a privileged few actually know what the dress will look like, and Philip Tracy still hasn't finished making Camilla's hat. She's coming in for the final fitting this afternoon. Now, people are still asking, can anything else go wrong? It seems one thing has gone right. Today, it's rainy and cold here in Windsor. Tomorrow, it'll be cloudy as usual, but we're told we could see some sunshine. Diane?
All right, Nick, thanks to you. Joining us now from Windsor is Jonathan Dimbleby. He is a close friend of Prince Charles, as well as his authorized biographer and famous television personality. Jonathan, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
So tell me, you're going to be in attendance at the religious ceremony. When you look at the guest list, what does it say about the royal couple and whom they want around them?
I think it says it's quite a wide range of people. There are the family, his family and her family. There are the famous celebrities. There are the actors. There are the artists. There are the people in his organizations, of which he's got some 300 charitable organizations. It's a real mix of the people that he loves, knows, and respects, and I think it's going to be a terrific day.
The other day on the ski slopes, we heard Prince William say that it's going to be a good day, that the children are for it. Tell us, you know the family, is this the case? What about Princes Harry and William on this day?
I'm absolutely certain it's the case. I've seen at close quarters the friendship, the love between father and the 2 sons. You can't fake that kind of thing. And they've got to know Camilla, and they know her well, and I have every reason to believe not only do they like her, I know they're extremely keen on the fact that this marriage is taking place, and they're going to be in the Guildhall across the road from here for the civil ceremony, as well as at the blessing and at the celebration afterwards.
And you're convinced that she's going to win over the British public soon?
Yeah, I'm absolutely certain of that. She's very down-to-earth character. She's very funny. She speaks well. She doesn't work a crowd. She gets into a crowd and talks to people, and they very quickly get a sense, individuals, that she is interested in them and cares about them. No, I think once this is through, there's going to be a lot more clear light, and in that process, she's going to become, over the years, a much-loved wife of the Prince of Wales.
They're going to take their honeymoon in Scotland, and the next week they make their first appearance at a couple. It's what, dedicating a children's playground?
Yeah, that's correct. She will be doing quite a lot of those things with her. Here he has in this country what he calls away days. As Prince of Wales, he goes to different parts of the country to see different organisations, individuals and his charities at work. She'll be with him on the state occasions that he does, when he's representing the Queen, both at home and abroad, and on his own official tours. So we're going to see quite a lot of her, not as a sort of individual independent star, but she's not a sort of pantomime duchess, because that's going to be her formal title. She's a real person. I think people will see that quite quickly.
Quick final question. Have you got your gift yet? What are you going to get? Robin and I are obsessed with asking people.
I can let you into a secret. We were expressly instructed, those who were invited to the wedding, that they did not wish to have presents. So I spared the difficult decision. No presents. It's true.
I believe you. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. A lovely day. And thanks, John.
Thanks so much.
Always great to talk to you. And we have here a collector's item, by the way, because they have all sorts of commemorative items, but with the wrong date on them. April the 8th, because most of them, of course, went out before the postponement.
Even more priceless now that this is
That's true. That's true. We'll save this. Anyway, here's Tony with the weather again.
That is a collector's item now. Thank you. You like that, huh? Got some strong storms this morning in Florida. I want to show you what happened yesterday in Ocala, Florida. We had a possible tornado there. Did damage, knocking down trees, damaged several homes. People were without their homes last night, about a dozen people. We saw overturned vehicles and flooding and down power lines as well. Now, looking ahead to the weekend, the east will see mainly dry conditions with some clouds. Central U.S. will see rain and strong to severe thunderstorm activity. The western mountains, rain, more snow. The west coast, mainly dry. Some rain to the north. We'll see winter-like conditions in the mountains and some sunshine out west. That's a look at the weather around the nation. Now, here's what's happening in your neighborhood.
Hey, we're set for sunshine. Good morning. Outside right now, it's chilly. 36 in Detroit, some spots in the upper 20s in the suburbs, especially to the north and northwest. But sunshine all day and 60 for a high. Sunshine throughout the weekend. Just a couple of clouds Sunday afternoon and 60s all the way up to 65.
All right, there you go. We'll have another look at weather coming up shortly. Diane, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Coming up next, we have the story of a mother who says she was held captive for 11 years by an escaped murderer.
My eyes are blue, and my thumb is green.
Janet's eyes needed protection from UV rays, rays which can cause cataracts. She needed prescription sunglasses.
With these, my eyes are safe.
For over 40 years, we've known that a comprehensive eye exam is the first step towards maintaining the health of your eyes.
Now my eyes have it made in the shade.
They're Janet's eyes, but they're my responsibility.
Right now, get 50% off all lenses, including prescription sun lenses, at Pearl Vision.
Oh, it's our emergency. This is Anthony.
We did an accident. I get a wet spot on the highway and a hydroplane.
I'm going to contact the police. Dispatch, this is OnStar. I'd like to report a vehicle accident with airbag deployment.
Okay. Are you injured?
Yeah.
We're sending someone right out.
It's okay. It's okay. The rescue guys are here. You guys are super.
We appreciate that, man. Please know we're here whenever you need us.
OnStar is available on over 50 GM models. To learn more, visit OnStar.com.
Let's talk about better. When someone says something's better, it's usually just their opinion. So if you suffer from acid reflux disease, frequent heartburn, and I told you prescription Nexium heals acid-related damage in the esophagus better, you'd want proof. And now, your doctor has that proof.
Recent medical studies prove Nexium heals that damage better than the other leading prescription medicine. No wonder they call Nexium the healing purple pill. So call your doctor today and ask if Nexium is right for you. Because if left untreated, the damage could get worse. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Hey, with Nexium, you don't just feel better, you are better. And better is better.
This is Nikki. Leave a message.
Sorry, your machine cut me off there. It's 2. That was the last digit. The first part was 0142 of the last 4. The first 3 of that is 555. So the whole thing is 55501.
To learn about easy automatic bill paying, go to mastercard.com.
Now for me, it's Stanley Steamer in that yellow van every time.
Call today and ask about our $99 special.
Call 1-800-STEAMER. Stanley Steamer gets carpet cleaner.
What is Priya? The snack for every part of you. With as much calcium as a glass of milk, soy protein for your muscles, and chocolate to keep you very happy. 110-calorie Priya and Priya Carb Select from Power Bar. Be great.
Tom Collins presents the all-new edition of John Hancock Champions on Ice, featuring all your favorite Olympic and world champions. Michelle Kwan, Sasha Cohen, Elvis Stoico, Timothy Gable, Johnny Weir, and more. Plus, incredible acrobatics, breathtaking displays that'll leave you on the edge of your seat. Plus, the lights, the music. This ain't your mama's ice show. This is John Hancock, Champions on Ice.
More now on a story we've been following on Good Morning America, the remarkable case of the hostage who returned home after nearly 11 years in captivity. A deputy prison warden's wife, Bobby Parker, was kidnapped by escape killer Randolph Dial back in 1994. He says he kept Mrs. Parker in fear for more than a decade with this threat.
She was living under the impression that if she ever tried to get away, I would get away, and I would make her regret it, particularly towards her family.
Mrs. Parker and Dial were found in Texas in the trailer where they were living for the past 5 years. Deputy Sheriff Donna Clayton stayed with Bobby Parker while she anxiously waited to be reunited with her husband, who hadn't seen her in 11 years, and Donna joins us now. Thank you very much. Now, you weren't originally on the case. The Texas Rangers called you in, asked for your help because they found Bobby, and they wanted you to spend the nights to help her. What happened?
Well, Monday night, Texas Ranger Tom Davis called me and just brought me up to date that they had captured Dial and rescued Miss Parker, and just asked if I would come stay with her and assist her in any way and basically be there for her.
And did she talk to you? Did she discuss what had happened to her?
On and off. She was pretty emotional that first night, and we talked some on and off.
What did she say about Randolph Dial?
I really can't disclose any of that because of the ongoing investigation.
And I know
what she actually said.
What she actually said. Was she fearful of him? Did you get the impression that she was fearful of him?
More so for her family than for herself.
You know, Donna, you know what I'm going to ask you next, because there were so many people when we were doing the story earlier in the week, and they're like, 11 years she was held captive. She was able to work. She was able to use the phone. She was, you know, seemingly to people, she could have gotten away. Did you have that impression that she was truly kidnapped? Was she truly in captivity?
I did, and like I say, more so she was concerned for the safety of her family than for herself. And that's, you know, the impression that I got.
She led you to believe that, and we heard from Dial himself, and as I was saying, many of us saw earlier in the week, he is charismatic, a con artist, some people would say. So you believe that Bobby was held against her will?
I do. I believe that she was convinced that he would have her family hurt or killed.
I know that there's the Stockholm syndrome that some of us know about, and when people are held hostage and they are fearful, but still, going back to it, 11 years, and to be living on the farm and to be different places and never have the opportunity, or she never felt that she could get away.
I'm pretty well convinced that she felt that he could have something done to her family, and she was protecting her family.
And authorities believe it as well as you. She's not under any kind of investigation. So you're there with her and you're talking to her. She's so emotional. I bet she had to be so anxious about the meeting with her husband that she hadn't seen in 11 years. You saw the reunion between the two. What was that like?
Yes. Awesome. When they first saw each other, they hesitated and just kind of took a deep breath, and then I blinked and they were just in each other's arms and holding each other and crying.
You told her that if someone's driving all that way overnight to see her, that there must still be something there.
Yeah, there seemed to still be a bond there, even after all those years.
Incredible, incredible story. We're going to keep on it. Donna, thank you very much for coming in. We certainly do appreciate that. We'll be right back. Come on back.
Beauty Shop is an endless source of laughter, raves the LA Times. Queen Latifah is hilarious and irresistible.
Blam, that's you?
It's pure feel-good fun. Beauty Shop, rated PG-13, now playing.
They're off and running every afternoon. So help them kick the hunger. When he's on the outside, the goodness of Quaker oatmeal's on the inside. Quaker Chewy granola bars. Another way to get your Quaker a day.
Bye. See you tonight.
Love you.
Love you too. Okay, that's my foot.
I State Farm agent LaDonna Young Hansen. This is a true story.
We didn't know what kind of claim it was, because was it going to be an auto claim or a homeowner's claim?
Since we take care of all their insurance needs, it was easy to figure out.
And she handled all the paperwork.
In minutes.
She made the process totally painless.
Well, not totally. I mean,
Okay.
Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. Trust us with all your insurance needs, and we'll save you some money, too. Call an agent today.
Like a good neighbor.
State Farm is there.
Where did I get this glow? Maybe I flew to Bermuda. Or maybe I got this glow from a wild fling with a moisturizer.
New Jergens Natural Glow, a different kind of moisturizer that gradually gives you a healthy summer glow. Moisturize daily and see your skin take on a darker tone.
Now I glow whenever I want.
Jergens Natural Glow Daily Moisturizer. Jergens, glowing skin is in.
Life is a work of art. Unless you have allergy eyes. Itchy, red, watery. You may need an allergy eye drop. Patanol. Patanol solution treats all your eye allergy symptoms. Just one drop in each eye twice a day. In minutes, you start to feel relief. There's a low incidence of headache, burning, or stinging. Wait 10 minutes before putting in contact lenses. Ask your doctor about adding a drop. Patanol. Relief is in sight.
Could I? Go ahead. Ooh.
Sorry, miss. Bit of an odor.
Is your toilet saying things behind your back? Cling 2-in-1 from Lysol cleans with every flush and fragrances between flushes.
We're fresher now.
Cling 2-in-1 from Lysol.
You want them to share everything. Everything but their germs. So use Lysol Disinfectant Spray. It kills 99.9% of germs on surfaces your family touches. Life demands Lysol. That's a fact.
The newest looks, inspired design, luminous fabrics. Now get all of spring's most fabulous trends at irresistibly low prices during Art Band's special purchase sale. Find the freshest looks from today's top furniture designers, like 60% off this denim sofa and love seat set. Compare at $24.50, now only $8.88. And you do not pay for 1.5 years. Art Band's special purchase sale. Hurry in while these special buys last.
And still ahead on Good Morning America, the Pope's funeral, a special musical tribute, all the sights and sounds. And just one more day until Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles are married. We'll talk live with one of Camilla's lifelong friends about her very special love affair.
We try to do a lot of things before we succeed. That's why we keep trying. Maybe all the times you tried to quit smoking before were just practice. Maybe you just needed the right help, like the Commit Stop Smoking Lozenge. Commit is proven to help even those smokers who've tried to quit before. Commit works fast to help control cravings, and it keeps working even after the lozenge is gone. The 4-milligram Commit lozenge actually doubles your chances of quitting. The Commit lozenge. Real help, real hope.
There's a place for us, somewhere a place for us, peace and quiet.
For those in the academic, medical, and cultural fields whose work serves the greater good, we serve you. TIAA CREF, Financial Services, for the greater good.
Some people think if you have a really bad headache, you should take extra medicine. Problem is, that's not going to get rid of your headache faster. And taking too much of any medication, no matter how safe it is, can cause serious problems. Your health is important to us, so if you're not going to take the recommended dose of our medicine, I'd rather you just didn't take it. And if that means selling less Tylenol, that's fine with me.
We're so sure you'll love Feline Pine. The no odor, no mess, no dust cat litter will give you your first bag free. Just go to felinepine.com for details. Feline Pine, the healthy cat litter perfected by nature.
Give your high-mileage engine what it wants. Switch to high-mileage vehicle motor oil from Pennzoil. It's for engines with over 75,000 miles.
He's 16 years from college. She's 12 years away. In parent time, it'll feel like an hour. So start saving now. Invest in MESP today, and next year at this time, you may be eligible for a Michigan income tax deduction. You'll enjoy the benefits of starting early and save with the knowledge that your funds are good at thousands of universities in the U.S. and several abroad. It's all explained online, even how to enroll. But don't wait, because the best savings plan of all is starting early.
Kate Logan here to tell you all about the Victory Advantage at Victory Chevrolet Buick Pontiac of Milan. 1, put zero money down and make zero payments for a full 3 months. 2, we guarantee you $2,000 more for your trade. And 3, the lowest possible payment on any vehicle we sell. A 2005 Pontiac G6 for just $113 per month, or a 2005 Chevy Malibu for just $79 per month. We dare you to compare, because we're confident that you too will see the Victory Advantage at Victory Chevrolet Buick Pontiac of Milan.
At the beginning of the half hour, I mentioned that extraordinary moment at the end of Pope John Paul's funeral mass when the crowd, almost as one, began to wave to him as his body was taken inside St. Peter's Basilica. And we have the pictures of it because it really was moving to see. It was just a tribute, streaming ribbons and hands back and forth saying goodbye. More from Rome in our next hour. Stay with us.
Tonight, 2020, with a stunning story of heroism and courage. She was beaten, suffocated, drowned, even shot by her ex-husband. She cheated death 3 times, and now it's her turn to fight back. How? Don't miss 2020 tonight.
Sunday's newest phenomenon is Grey's Anatomy. Awesome. It gets 4 stars. You'll love the show that has heart and brains.
It's something really big.
The biggest new hit of the year. An all-new Grey's Anatomy, Sunday, 10/9 Central, only on ABC.
From Channel 7, this is an Action News update.
Good morning, everybody. It is 7:56 as you get your Friday started.
Setback in court for Mark Unger, the Huntington Woods man who is accused of murdering his wife Florence. A judge has ruled that even though the case against Unger is almost entirely circumstantial, he still can face trial. 2 years ago, his wife's body was found at a resort up north.
An economic group is taking steps to keep Michigan from becoming a giant trash dump. The Michigan Strategic Fund has decided to stop financial aid to landfill operators. The group says that waste companies can no longer use state-issued bonds to expand their landfills. The larger landfills have attracted garbage dumpers from Canada and other states as well. Last year alone, nearly 1/3 of Michigan's trash came from outside our borders.
Well, the sun is shining brightly around.
That's a good sign.
Oh, I am telling you, been waiting for this weekend for a while. Good morning. Look at Viper now. No clouds anywhere near us. We're in great shape, and the sky will be blue with that big old beacon up there all day long. Temperature-wise, it is chilly this morning, 36 in Detroit. Most spots colder, though, as cold as 29 right now in Ann Arbor. Sunshine today all day long, a little northeast breeze up to 15 miles per hour and a high temperature of 60. We'll talk about the weekend at the top of the hour.
4 freeway closures for all or part of the weekend as you look at I-75 near Gardenia. North Lodge will be closed under Cobo, North Lodge at I-94, West 94 from Madison to the Southfield Freeway, and East 96 from the Southfield to I-94, all closed for all or part of this weekend. Morning, Eric. Morning, Carolyn.
Good morning, Captain. More from Rome with America's Good Morning America's special coverage.
When you've got a problem, 7's Consumer Call for Action
gets results. We've recovered over $800,000 for our 7 Action News viewers. Let us fight for you.
248-827-3362.
Every Monday through Thursday from 11 until 1.
7's Consumer Call for Action, only on 7 Action News, on your side.
No job's too big. No job's too small. We're father and son. Give us a call.
Extra, extra, extra. World of Floors and Stainmaster are announcing a special one-time savings event. For a limited time only, every Stainmaster carpet is now on sale at World of Floors. Plus, as an extra incentive, we'll even pay your sales tax and get free financing until May 2006. That's right, 3 incredible offers during this one-time Stainmaster savings event. But it's only going on through Sunday at World of Floors.
If you're not shopping the World of Floors, you're paying too much.
The best value and lease offers just got better. Your local Detroit area Honda dealers are making their biggest offers yet. Lease the 2005 Honda Accord for $199 per month, or choose the 2005 Honda Civic VP for just $159 per month. But you must act now. These are unprecedented lease offers that will only be available for a limited time. Honda Civics for just $159 a month. Honda Accords for $199 a month. Make the smart choice. Make the right choice. And visit one of your local Detroit area Honda dealers today.
Like most women, I have an extra closet just to handle my overload of clothes. Art Van has one too, only their overload is furniture, and their extra closet is big, really big. It's the Art Van Clearance Center.
And let me tell you, saving money has never looked this good. This 8-piece bedroom is $12.97, and this cute 7-piece bedroom is $7.97. Plus, you pay nothing till September.
A lot of stuff, a lot of savings. Find it at the overload sale in the Art Van Clearance Center, where it's a whole new store every day.
The Pistons battle the Heat, Sunday at 12:30 on 7.
This morning, the final farewell. Pope John Paul II laid to rest with an estimated 2 billion people watching worldwide. Kings and presidents, cardinals and commoners gather to mourn at the Vatican. Ahead, the moments, the meaning, the power of prayer, the funeral for the people's Pope. Good morning, America. I'm Charles Gibson, coming to you from Vatican City for this extraordinary perch that we have, looking down on St. Peter's Square and the Basilica, where we have witnessed this morning at a very, very early hour here, at least for people back in the United States, the funeral for Pope John Paul II. His body has now been taken down into the crypt below the Basilica and has been entombed there forever. His body lying in the same spot that was occupied by Pope John the 23rd, the popular John the 23rd, until John's body was brought up into the Basilica itself for viewing in a glass case. So many chants today about John Paul Santo, they chanted. So many people wanting him to be made a saint now. The public responses throughout the service were so strong. People taking over and applauding at times, and the cardinals who were concelebrants of the funeral mass stopping to let the people speak, in effect. Their applause speaking volumes about their feelings about Pope John Paul. There you see the body as it was being taken for the last time out of St. Peter's Square into the Basilica to be laid to rest. Following the events throughout the morning has been ABC's Terry Moran, who is with me here in Rome. Terry?
Charlie, it was quite a send-off, a mixture of sorrow and joy, of high ceremony, and as you noted, of a raucous, sometimes participating crowd. All in all, it was really a reflection of the life John Paul lived. The bells of St. Peter's tolled out across Rome this morning as the powerful and the pilgrims gathered for the funeral mass of John Paul II. Presidents, princes, leaders of other religions, young and old, all here to say farewell. Then the body of the Pope in a simple coffin made of cypress was carried out of the Basilica and laid before the crowd. A Bible rested on top, its pages blowing freely in the strong spring breeze. The cardinals, the princes of the church, took their places, and all around the world, the faithful watched. A parish church in Chicago, a park in the Philippines, a vast field in Poland outside John Paul's beloved city of Krakow. For the Pope who had traveled the world, a service in many languages: English, Spanish, Swahili, Polish. At times it seemed all of Rome was praying as the streets filled with the sound of the Lord's Prayer in so many languages. And there was this remarkable scene: world leaders, some allies, some enemies, all exchanging a greeting of peace, a peace John Paul urged them to make and to keep. The Mass drew to a close, and the crowd once more spoke as one. Over and over, they chanted his name. They waved their flags and banners. They said goodbye. And finally, after all the prayers and blessings, John Paul II, born Karol Wojtyła of Poland, who became in many ways the first citizen of the world, made his last journey to rest in peace in St. Peter's. One thing this funeral seemed to capture, a remarkable irony in John Paul's life. A man who saw so much death as a young man. He lost his mother early, and his brother and his father, and lived close to Auschwitz. Had such a life-affirming role in the world. And really, Charlie, that is what we saw here this morning.
The homily at the service was given by Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger of Germany, who is the dean of the College of Cardinals. It was a very personal homily that he gave, and he said, "Our hearts are full of sadness, yet at the same time of joyful hope and profound gratitude." And then he talked of the Pope's travels, and he said he went everywhere untiringly in order to bear fruit, a fruit, he said, that lasts. There were more than 150 cardinals participating, concelebrants, in this service. Diane had a chance to talk with 2 of those cardinals just after the service concluded. Diane?
That's right, Charlie. We spoke with Roger Cardinal Mahoney from the Archdiocese of Los Angeles and Edgar Cardinal McCarrick from the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. Cardinal Mahoney and Cardinal McCarrick, it means so much to us to have you with us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us.
And Cardinal Mahoney, I understand that you have just come back from the crypt beneath the church. Can you describe for us those final personal moments?
Well, we actually were not in the crypt itself. We formed an honor guard of cardinals to welcome the Holy Father's body through St. Peter's and down to the crypt. But one of the things that struck me during this entire Mass was that wonderful scripture that says, "The measure you use to deal with others is the measure will be measured back to you." And it seems to me that this extraordinary outpouring of people, the biggest funeral probably in the history of the world, shows that everyone came to give back to Pope John Paul for all he has given throughout these years.
And Cardinal McCarrick, for those of us watching from 4,200 miles away, it's one thing to see that crowd begin to cheer. And Santo Subito, they kept cheering Saint Now. What was it for those of you standing around that wooden casket?
Well, I think as we were standing around, the enthusiasm of the people, it was catching. It was also touching, and I think that was one of the most emotional moments. When that happened, I think some of us filled up because he was a man of the people. He was a man, he loved the people. He loved, and they knew he loved them. That was a great secret, and they loved him back. And they wanted to show that. The only way they could see it was by screaming and yelling, almost "Viva el Papa," and they knew he was gone.
And Cardinal McCarrick, we saw in his will, and I know you have written about the fact that his will every year added, you said, another insight, another grace. We saw this extraordinary thing where in the year 2000, because of his illness, he really pondered whether he should resign and ask God to tell him to take care of this decision for him. Were you surprised that he had thought that way?
No, not at all, because he was a man who loved the church, and I think Cardinal Sodano said a few weeks ago, he loved the church so much, no one loves it more. He's going to make sure that he's always serving it, and if he's not able to serve it, he's going to take the proper steps. The fact that this was in his testament, the fact that he said, "Whatever you want, Lord, whatever you want, Lord." Nunc dimittis. He quoted this the great canticle of Simeon. Now you've come. Now I can go in peace. That's what he quoted, and that's what his life. So whatever he wanted.
I'm sorry, Cardinal Mahoney, a final thought, if we can, from you. I know we have helicopter noise ahead, but if you would.
Well, it seems to me that this Pope is surely going to be one of the great popes in the life of the Catholic Church. And the gift of this man for the world, for all peoples of goodwill, to bring about reconciliation and hope and strive for peace, and to be without hesitation to try to bring all peoples together, that will long endure after he's gone.
We thank you again so much for being with us, especially on this day. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
And again, Roger Cardinal Mahoney and Theodore Edgar Cardinal McCarrick. We are grateful to them. Robin has the news now.
All right, Diane. A Texas man will be arraigned today on charges he shot his son's high school football coach. The incident caused a panic at the school, as you can imagine. ABC's Mike Von Frem reports.
There was panic as parents rushed to Canton High School with their children locked inside.
And they told me that the coach had been shot and that the kids were okay and that they were in lockdown.
Football coach Gary Kinney was in the field house when parent Jeffrey Robertson walked in and allegedly fired an AK-47 assault rifle directly into the coach's chest.
His son and him had differences with the coaches.
In fact, Robertson's son had just been kicked off the team, and the father and son had a history of fights with other players.
That's when his dad came up and grabbed my shirt and threw me into the fence and said he'd kill everybody in my family.
The father allegedly told friends he had a hit list of school officials and others to get even with.
As far as I can tell, there was about 5 people on that list.
Coach Kenny was the only one attacked. He is now in critical but stable condition. Jeffrey Robertson fled into the woods saying he would not be taken alive and slashed his wrists. But after a short standoff, he was captured and will now be charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. For Good Morning America, Mike Von Frem, ABC News, Dallas.
Police have searched the Las Vegas home of the woman who claims she found a finger in a bowl of Wendy's chili. Ana Ayala's son says a search warrant mentions a possibility that the finger came from his mother's dead aunt. Ayala says, who is suing Wendy, says she's being dragged through the mud. The FDA says the risk of Bextra outweigh its benefits, so Pfizer's popular painkiller is now off the market. The FDA will also require the strongest safety warnings possible on 19 other prescription drugs. Even over-the-counter painkillers will come with stronger warnings now. And be ready to dig deeper when you gas up your car this summer. Government forecasters predict average prices will peak next month at $2.35 a gallon, nearly 40 cents higher than last year. That means the average SUV owner will pay $9 more at the pump. And I ask you, what happens when the queen of the jungle has a bad tooth? Goes to the dentist. And that's what happened at Miami's Metro Zoo when Kenya, an 18-year-old, 370-pound African lioness, had a root canal. But while Kenya was under anesthesia, she also received a manicure on 2 ingrown claws. Now, I have to go to the dentist this afternoon. If I can get a mani and a pedi at the same time, I'm all set. That's the latest news at 8:11. The latest weather. Down with the people is Tony Perkins.
I like it. Spa treatment for lions. All right, thank you very much, Robin. Thank you, everybody. Let's get right to it. Want to show your high temperatures for the nation for today through the weekend. We start with today. Now, take a look. Washington, D.C., around 60 or so. Remember, on Wednesday, it was in the mid-80s. Yesterday, mid-70s, so it cools off somewhat. Rapid City today, a high of 80 degrees. But look, tomorrow, that temperature drops to 59 degrees. It drops off significantly after being 25 degrees above normal today. Also want you to check out Denver on Saturday, 60. On Sunday, 35 and snow. Meanwhile, on Sunday, Dallas will top out at 79 degrees, Minneapolis at 68. That's a look at what's happening with the weather around the nation now. Here's what's happening in your neighborhood.
Good Friday morning. Going to be a great weekend. Let's get right into it. Outside right now, it is cool, and that will be the trend for the morning hours. It's 32 in Flint and Port Huron, 34 in Mount Clemens, 33 in Ann Arbor, but warmer in the city, and 40 degrees is where we start our day in Detroit. Clouds off to our south continue to move away, and the ones to the west will stay away as well. Again, it should be very, very nice. Sunshine all day long today, 60 degrees for a high. Sunshine tomorrow, 63, and mostly sunny on Sunday with a high temperature of 65. Still nice for Monday and Tuesday as well.
All right, there you have it. One more look at weather is coming up shortly. Diane?
Okay, thanks, Tony. And coming up next, we'll talk to a close friend of Camilla Parker Bowles on the eve of her royal wedding to Prince Charles.
Are you very happy, sir? Are you very happy?
Millions of us are hospitalized with heart-related chest pain or a certain type of heart attack, what doctors call ACS. The cause? For most, it was blood platelets that formed clots which blocked blood from getting to the heart. Think aspirin and your other heart medications alone are enough? One more thing could help make a difference. Ask your doctor about adding Plavix. Added to aspirin in your current treatment, Plavix goes beyond what you're taking to help raise protection against heart attack or stroke. Plavix and your other medications work in different ways. Plavix, taken with aspirin, plays its own role in keeping blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots, which helps keep blood flowing.
If you have a medical condition that causes bleeding, such as a stomach ulcer, you shouldn't use Plavix.
The risk of bleeding may increase with Plavix, and when you take Plavix with certain other medications, including aspirin, review your medicines with your doctor to minimize this risk. Additional rare but serious side effects could occur.
Add Plavix for more protection against heart attack or stroke.
Janet's eyes needed protection from UV rays. She needed prescription sunglasses.
With these, my eyes are safe.
They're Janet's eyes, but they're my responsibility.
Now, get 50% off all lenses, including prescription sun lenses at Pearl Vision.
Sorry, we can't give you a home loan. Your credit score is only 619.
That'll be 619.
The winning number is 619.
Haunted by your credit score? At LendingTree.com, get up to 4 customized loan offers, even if your credit's not perfect.
Hello, sir. We have the best rates.
When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com.
We never give in to fads. Discover the timeless beauty of Moen. Moen. Buy it for looks, buy it for life.
Okay, sweetheart, what happened? She didn't want to let on, but I knew she forgot to use her Flonase nasal spray, so I gave it to her straight. Flonase is all you want, and don't you forget it.
I'll remember.
Click on Alamo.com now to enter the Alamo.com Family Vacation Sweepstakes. If you've wanted to take a Disney vacation, this is the perfect time during Disney's happiest celebration on Earth. Alamo is giving away 300 family vacations to Walt Disney World Resort or Disneyland Resort, including 5 days, 4 nights, round-trip airfare for 4, hotel accommodations, park tickets, and rental car. Just visit Alamo.com for a chance to celebrate 50 years of magic at Disney Parks. Alamo.com, the official website of the American Vacation.
Morning, Cam. Morning, Bob. Good morning, Scott Tissue.
Can everyone hear me?
Just barely. Great. Let's get started.
You guys. Scott Tissue's gone soft. Introducing Scott Extra Soft with as many sheets as 3 rolls of the competition.
Move this up here and then...
Wow! This is really soft. You guys...
New guy.
New Scott Extra Soft Tissue. Common sense on a roll.
All right, how is this for a pickup line? My great-grandmother was your great-great-grandfather's mistress, so how about it? Well, legend has it, those were the words Camilla Parker Bowles said to Prince Charles when they met. Well, as you know, they get married tomorrow, and whether or not the legend is true, theirs is a love story that's endured against all odds. Prince Charles and Camilla Shan's mutual affection began at a polo match in the unusually stormy summer of 1972. The expert rider had a wry sense of humor and traveled among London's young elite, along with a younger girl known then as Lady Diana Spencer. But when Charles went to sea, Camilla's attention drifted back to an earlier beau she would marry. Fast forward 8 years to another wedding. In 1981, when Prince Charles married the irresistible Diana. But years later, the world would learn that Charles and Camilla exchanged private gifts just before the ceremonies. Then in November 1995, a grieved Diana indicted Charles and Camilla.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
Charles and Diana's deeply troubled marriage finally came to an end. Meanwhile, Camilla and Andrew Parker Bowles had also divorced. But the friendship between prince and commoner endured. Charles, whose every move was subject to scrutiny, called Camilla the one non-negotiable fact in his life.
She's loyal. She makes him laugh. She's just about the very best friend that he's got.
There is something very, I suppose, romantic about people who fell in love when they were young. You're not as beautiful as you were when you're in your 20s. And yet, the emotions, the feelings, the relationship between you is still there.
Bit by bit, the couple unveiled their enduring bond, appearing together in public. The younger princes invited her on a family vacation. Next came the Queen's blessing. At the internationally televised Jubilee, Camilla was seated in the royal box, an unmistakable message that Camilla was welcome. Then on June 26, 2001, the first kiss before the camera, and now a proposal to make it official.
Did you get down on one knee to propose?
And so, with tomorrow's relatively simple civil ceremony, what may be one of the greatest love stories of our time quietly comes into full bloom. And joining us now is royal biographer William Shawcross. He's going to the wedding tomorrow. He's back with us. He's known Camilla Parker Bowles since childhood. And as I said, he is invited to the wedding tomorrow. Okay, William, through everything, these two have stuck it out. What do you think has kept them together?
What does keep people together except love? And I think they have loved each other for a very long time. They each fell in love with someone else and married someone else. And when those marriages sadly ended in divorce, then subsequently they came together again.
So, William, why didn't they get together in the first place? A lot of people want to know that.
Well, that would have been very nice for everybody. I quite agree with you. It would have saved a lot of heartache. As you said in your piece, Prince Charles went off to sea, and Camilla resumed her affection and love for a previous boyfriend, Andrew Parker Bowles, whom she was madly in love with and whom she married. And then, as I say, that ended in a divorce.
Diane earlier talked to someone else who's going to the wedding tomorrow, Jonathan Dimbleby, there in London as well. And he feels that the critics are going to let up on Camilla after the wedding, that she's going to win people over. Do you think that too?
I think so too. I think the press in Britain, unlike in America, has been absolutely vile to Camilla and to Prince Charles. But I think that as she assumes her new duties as the Duchess of Cornwall and becomes a part of the monarchy and the royal family, she will become much, much more popular. People will see her for what she is, a very enjoyable, down-to-earth woman who loves life and has fun and is very witty, makes very good jokes, sometimes slightly risky jokes, and I think she will win a lot of friends.
Can you tell us the best joke she ever told you on camera?
I can't think of any on camera that I would like to say, but she has a very good earthy sense of humor, and she's always fun to be with. She's a wisecracker.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. So do you think the marriage will change the relationship at all?
Oh, well, I don't know. What do you think? Does marriage change relationships? I suspect it does. I think that Charles will become a much easier person. He's a very hard-working person. He sometimes seems not at ease with himself and with his role. I think Camilla gives him a structure, a meaning, a form of life which he will find extremely comfortable. And the thing that that really joins them together and is the basis of their love, I think, is a great trust. He trusts her completely, and it's a marvelous relationship to see.
It is, William. Thank you very much. And I hear you're off the hook. You don't have to bring a wedding gift. Jonathan told us that earlier. So have fun tomorrow. We appreciate it. When we come back, we'll go back to Vatican City. Stay with us.
Spanglish, now on DVD. From the director of As Good as It Gets.
You think you're at some crossroads? You are.
Comes the comedy. Whoa. Critics call one of the best films of the year.
Mother, it's not even noon.
Adam Sandler. Own it now on DVD.
Can I get a 55? Give me 55. Come on, give me 55. I got a 125. Give me 125. Come on, give me 125. I need a 125.
I've always talked fast and loved antiques. Then I got sick and I had to go on chemo. Doctor told me I might become anemic, maybe feel weak, but it slowed me right down. For the first time in 30 years, I was too tired to work.
Time to go, Charlie.
I had to get my strength back. I asked my doctor about Procrit.
Procrit is for chemotherapy-related anemia in patients with most kinds of cancer. Ask your doctor if Procrit is right for you. Procrit is proven to help rebuild red blood cells, which can mean more strength.
Good to see you. It's good to see you, Charlie.
Good to be back.
Procrit is not for patients with uncontrolled high blood pressure and may increase the risk of blood clots.
Okay, folks. Let's go.
Call now and learn how Procrit can help you get back the strength you need. Your strength for living.
Yeah, I got 2 speeds. Fast and faster.
What is Priya?
It's my chocolate fix. It's my multivitamin.
Priya is the snack for every part of you, with calcium, soy protein, and chocolate. 110-calorie Priya and Priya Carbs Select from Power Bar. Be great.
There's something amazing on the hair care horizon. The look is pure premium. The technology is cutting edge. The very feel of it is rich. The scent, sophisticated. More than half of women who use salon products prefer it to their brand. They say they notice the difference. What they know may surprise you. Pantene Pro V with an exclusive amino provitamin complex. Pantene. Amazing.
I've lived here all my life. I'm not going anywhere. I've made arrangements for assistance if I need it. I'm a realist. I know I'll be old one day.
Long-term care coverage from Mutual of Omaha Insurance Company.
Hey, thanks for giving us a little peek inside the tree here, Mr. Keebler.
My pleasure.
So this is the famous magic oven, huh?
Yep, got a batch of rich, irresistible Keebler fudge stripes coming right up.
Now, I understand there's no heat source.
Correct.
No gas, no electricity.
Nope.
Yet it actually bakes the cookies?
Uh-huh.
Without melting the fudge?
Precisely.
How's that possible?
Dude, what part of the term magic oven do you not get?
Keebler cookies, uncommonly made, uncommonly good.
Fuel economy like a car. Cargo room and versatility like an SUV. The totally new Ford Freestyle. One vehicle, endless possibilities. Ford, built for the road ahead.
From Channel 7, this is an Action News update.
You bet. Good morning, everybody. 8:25 in Motown as you get up and get going.
While people mourn the Pope, this is also a time to celebrate his life, and they are doing that in a very special way at the Blessed Sacrament Cathedral in Detroit. There is a fascinating photo display of the Pope's 3 visits to Detroit over 3 decades. He came here in the 1960s and 70s as the Bishop of Poland, and then again in 1987 as Pope. The photos of Pope John Paul II will be on display for a few more days at the Blessed Sacrament Cathedral. It's located on Woodward Avenue in Detroit.
Many people waking up very early this morning to watch the Pope's funeral right here on 7. Some, of course, gathered together at the Shrine of the Little Flower in Royal Oak. Church opened its doors as parishioners watched the service on a big screen television. Many who attended say it was exceptionally touching.
It gets kind of eerie watching it, but we're thankful we have the opportunity because we did visit the Pope in person at in 1999, or 99. Well, we were in Rome and we had an audience with the Pope and he said Mass for us.
I think the readings were very appropriate and seemed to talk right about John Paul. And I had an opportunity to see him in Rome last summer, and he has just lived out the gospel and inspired us.
Action News reporter Mary Conway is on hand at the Vatican. She will have reports of the funeral throughout the day today here on Channel 7.
Well, the Free Press promises an investigation into a column written by Mitch Albom that appeared in this Sunday's Free Press. Albom's column ran Sunday describing in detail how former MSU players Jason Richardson and Mateen Cleaves had attended the Final Four championship. Trouble is, it never happened. They told Albom last week that they planned to go, so Albom filed his story Friday, assuming that they would be there. Albom has apologized for the mistake.
We'll take a look at the beautiful weather outside and traffic when we come right back.
As the world mourns the death of Pope John Paul II, turn to 7 Action News for complete coverage from Rome and throughout Metro Detroit. We'll have live Team 7 reports. 7 is on your side.
DOC is everyone's optical.
You mean me?
Me.
Me.
You better believe it. Absolutely.
Shop to Droptical. Rock around the cloctical.
Every single person up and down the blocktical.
Frames for the masses.
Glasses for your classes. Make me look good.
And make sure nothing clashes.
Mom and poptical? Traffic coptical?
Eavesdroptical.
So come on in. DOC is everyone's optical.
Introducing the Health Smart Bed from Simmons. Just zip off the top. Fold and zip it like a sleeping bag. Wash it to remove germs, dust mites, dirt, odor, and perspiration, just like when you wash your sheets. Dry it, and then zip it back on for a clean and healthy sleep environment.
And now at Art Van, save up to 50% on Simmons Health Smart Mattress Sets. Plus, do not pay for 1.5 years. And register to win one of 30 Maytag washer and dryer sets.
Welcome back, everybody. Here's a look at Viper, and you will not find a cloud in the sky in the state of Michigan. We're in very good shape, and that's going to be the case for almost all of the weekend. Maybe a few clouds Sunday afternoon, but that's about it. Let me show you temperatures now. My man Larry over here running the lights said it's cold outside, frost on the windshield, so make sure you get up a little bit early. It's warming quickly, though. We were 36 last hour in Detroit, 40 are in Detroit right now, still at the freezing mark in Flint and Port Huron as well. And it was 29 earlier in Ann Arbor, and now it's up to 33. But the sun is out, it's doing its thing, 83% for the humidity. North winds at 5 miles per hour. Pressure will go up just a little bit today and keep the winds fairly light from the northeast at 5 to 15. 60 degrees for high, 5 degrees above normal with tons of sunshine. And look at the weekend. More sunshine tomorrow, Saturday, nothing but 63 for high, 65 on Sunday. And the nice thing about this stretch is it's going to last for quite a while. So the ground's starting to warm up a little bit with the sunshine and warmer temperatures all the way through Tuesday. Flowers starting to do their thing. Dennis, how's the traffic?
Well, you know what? So far, it's good for the drive in this morning, but there are going to be 4 freeway closures for all or part of this weekend, Dave, and here comes the list. 4 freeways affected. North Lodge under Cobo Hall, actually 3. North Lodge at I-94 shut down. West 94 from Madison Avenue to the Southfield. And East 96, the Jeffries Freeway, will also be closed for all or part of this weekend from the Southfield to I-94. Eric, Carolyn?
Captain, Good Morning America continues right now.
With more from the Vatican, we'll see you back here in 25 minutes.
And Good Morning America, I'm Charles Gibson. We join you again from Vatican City as we overlook St. Peter's Square and St. Peter's Basilica. The funeral for the Pope having concluded just about an hour and a half ago. We'll be going to Diane Sawyer and Robin Roberts in New York in just a few moments, but a chance to talk about really what was a moving service. A simple Catholic service, high mass for sure, but the same kind of funeral that would be accorded any Catholic who died. But the extraordinary variety of people that were here, world leaders from 100 different nations and leaders of so many churches in attendance as well. And then the crowd becoming a part of the service as it went on, clapping and clapping and clapping and chanting John Paul's name and saying John Paul Santo, John Paul Saint. And then the very moving moment when those carrying the casket, the simple cypress casket, turned and faced it toward the crowd in St. Peter's Square for the last time, and then turned and took it into the Basilica for burial. And we'll talk a little bit about that burial in just a few moments. Diane, Robin?
Well, Charlie, in this half hour as well, we want to tell everyone we love the scenes of the Pope with children, and we pulled together kind of scrapbook. It's a wonderful scrapbook of the moments with children that we'll never forget.
Yeah, part of his legacy. And, of course, other news as well this morning. A surprising new study about obesity and shopping. Are sales clerks discriminating against overweight customers? We'll take up that issue in just a few minutes.
And also Bruce Willis has a new movie out, but something different this morning. He's going to talk about politics, about liberals, conservatives, and we know he speaks his mind. But first, let's go back to the Vatican and Charlie.
All right, thanks very much, Diane. I'm here with Father Christopher Nolte, who is from New Orleans, but is based here in Rome and has a good sense of the crypts underneath St. Peter's Basilica, where the Pope has been buried. The burial now completed. There have been such crowds to see his body in the church as it lay in state. Right. Will people be able to see where he's buried eventually?
Eventually they all will, because most of the recent popes are all buried in the crypt of St. Peter's. When a pope is beatified or canonized, he's usually moved upstairs to make him more accessible.
As happened with John the 23rd.
Exactly, and they moved his body out of the marble sarcophagus that he was in into the transept of the basilica, leaving a spot very, very close to the tomb of St. Peter open.
And people can go down there eventually?
People can, but they really have to go in single file, because you have to go down a very precarious staircase to get there.
Now, he was buried in 3 separate coffins. The significance of that?
Well, it's interesting because there have been lots of different reports about it, and in the book today for the ceremony, it only mentioned 2. It mentioned one wooden coffin, cypress inside, and then a zinc-lined coffin, which was the outer one. So I'm not really sure, because at some of the press conferences you've heard different things about that.
Well, we heard wood inside zinc inside wood, but what would be the significance of multiple coffins?
I can't tell you. I think that the big thing about his burial that's different is that it's not in a marble sarcophagus, because most of the popes who are buried in the crypt of St. Peter's are buried in marble sarcophagi. And it was in the 1960s when Paul VI is the one who discovered and identified the remains of St. Peter and found that those bones had been encrusted with soil. And I think it's probably due in part to that Paul VI became one of the popes, the only ones in recent memory to be buried in the earth.
And the reason that John Paul wanted to be buried
Perhaps.
in the earth
He
as well.
mentioned in his will that he wanted to be buried in the same way that Paul VI was, nuda terra, as it says, bare earth.
All right, Father Nolte, thanks very much. Good to have you with us.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Tony Perkins and the weather.
All right, thank you very much, Charlie. Before we get to the weather, I want to introduce to you Tamara DeMonte. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Perfectly.
Oh, very good. Well, from our ABC station in Palm Springs, KESQ. First time to New York?
First time, I love it.
Yeah, morning anchor there?
You got it, up early just like you every morning.
Yes, and we thank you for the great work out there. We appreciate it. Now I want to show you one of the most fascinating signs of the morning. I love this. Ashlyn, you were right. Mommy's pregnant. All right, big announcement being made here. Audra and Brian, tell me what this is all about. I know what it's about, but tell me. You're letting Ashlyn know. Yeah, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, Ashlyn is your daughter?
She's 6. She's at home in New Hampshire.
And before you left on this trip, she said what?
She said, Mommy, you look pregnant.
And you didn't know?
We didn't know.
And you've confirmed it now?
Yes, we have.
Well, that's a bright 6-year-old.
In New York City, too.
In New York City. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And this is your son here. What's your son? Blaine? Blaine, say hi to everybody. Oh, we're hiding Blaine. There you go. All right. How much time do we have left? I'll get to the weather, then we'll try this other thing here. First, let's take a look at what's happening with the forecast over the weekend. We start with Saturday in the central United States. Some strong to severe storms, continued storminess in the mountains of the west, some of that snow moving into some of the cities. We'll see mild conditions in the east and relatively nice conditions for the west coast. Then for Sunday, a better chance of severe weather in the central and southern plains. And again, some of that snow in the mountains does move into some of the cities of Colorado. That's a look at what's happening with the weather around the nation. Now, here's what's happening in your neighborhood.
Hey, the neighborhood looks great. Sunshine out there right now, 40 degrees in Detroit. Most spots significantly cooler than that. Some areas still in the lower 30s, so it's a bit chilly, but it'll warm up very quickly today with sunshine all day long. 60 today, 63 on Saturday, 65 on Sunday.
All right, there you have it. For more weather information, go to our website at gma.abcnews.com. Robin, back to you.
All right, Tony. With more than a third of American adults obese comes an eye-opening new study that's a wake-up call about prejudice and discrimination. And ABC's Nancy Weiner has more. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning, Robin. This was an unusual study, to say the least. A group of women sent to a shopping mall masquerading as overweight. What they found was troubling.
That is your copy? In the world of retail, where commission is king, salespeople may be discriminating against a sizable segment of the buying population. Here you are. Researchers from Rice University arranged a sort of undercover investigation in a Texas mall. They sent women of average weight shopping, half the time wearing fat suits like this one. The women carried tape recorders in their purses and were observed from a distance. Every one of them followed a carefully prepared script, asking for help buying a gift for her sister. The results probably won't surprise you. Sales personnel were ruder to the seemingly obese women, avoiding eye contact and often hurrying the sale.
They did feel that they had faced discrimination. They felt uncomfortable. They felt that they had been treated badly, and it didn't feel good.
A twist. The women wearing fat suits were treated better if they were professionally dressed, or if they mentioned that they were trying to lose the weight. Those factors serve to counteract typical obesity stereotypes, the researchers say.
We see that obese individuals are associated with being lazy, with being sloppy, with being not very hardworking.
Oh my God, there she is. There's Rosemary.
In the movie Shallow Hal, a prosthetically plumped-up Gwyneth Paltrow expresses a common complaint among overweight Americans, that they're treated differently in all sorts of settings.
I mean, I saw the way your friend Mauricio looked at me. I thought he was going to shoot me with a tranquilizer gun and tag my ear.
Women tend to feel the discrimination most keenly. A recent survey found 60% of obese women believed they had lost out on a job because of their weight, compared to 40% of men. The authors of the shopping studies say their findings should serve as a wake-up call to retailers, because shoppers who feel they've been discriminated against tend to spend less money or avoid certain stores altogether.
There are financial reasons for them to try to reduce discrimination towards all stigmatized groups.
So that was in Texas, Nancy, but there's another study out of St. Louis?
Right, and this one has to do with overall appearance. The Federal Reserve Board of St. Louis found that people who are slimmer, taller, more attractive tend to get better jobs and get promoted more often, make more money because of their looks. But they say they can't tell for sure whether that means there's a bias against homelier people or whether attractive people just have more self-confidence, which leads to better jobs.
Fascinating and frightening all at the same time, that kind of study. Thanks, Nancy, very much. Appreciate that. Coming up next, Diane with Bruce Willis on life in Sin City. So come on back to Good Morning America.
This'll do.
Kicks like a mule. At Save-A-Lot, we cut the frills so you can save on groceries. Just look. Bananas, 29 cents a pound. Corn, 29 cents. Banquet pot pies, 29 cents? This can't be right. Is someone get a manager?
The 9th Annual Michigan Humane Society Telethon, recently brought to you on Channel 7 with support from Pet Supplies Plus and General Motors, was a heartwarming success, raising nearly $400,000 to benefit the thousands of animals rescued and cared for by the Michigan Humane Society each year. But there's still so much more to be done, and so many more homeless animals counting on your help. 1-866-M-HUMANE is the number to call, or donate online at www.michiganhumane.org. You can still make a difference, change a life, make the call.
My Grand Cherokee's 4x4 of the year, and I got 0% financing.
Because it has amazing four-wheel drive capability, and it's trail rated. Plenty of cargo room.
5-star crash test rating.
And a great lease.
Join over 1 million proud new owners during the Jeep Spring Sales event to get the most award-winning lineup in our history. Now, qualified Daimler Chrysler employee lessees can lease a Grand Cherokee Laredo for $239 a month.
We got the Laredo we wanted.
Life is good.
Spring is here, and so are the incredible spring savings at Value City Furniture.
Right now, save 1/2 or more on thousands of beautiful 5-piece dinettes. Choose from retro, modern, traditional, metal and glass, or all wood.
Your choice, just $199. And have your new dinette delivered to your home in about 7 days.
For the latest styles at the guaranteed lowest prices. Don't miss the spring sale now at Value City Furniture.
You just can't do any better.
Jiffy Corn Muffin Mix, 29 cents. Macaroni and cheese, 29 cents. Margarine, 29 cents? I can't believe this.
It's Save-A-Lot. Just look at the receipt.
Pork and beans?
ABC Tonight is the hottest night of the week because a married man is caught with another woman.
Are you having an affair with Hope's husband? Yes.
Ouch! It's as hot as it gets on a new Hope and Faith tonight at 9/8 Central only on ABC.
This Sunday, it's America's favorite guilty pleasure.
I don't feel guilty.
And America's biggest new hit of the year.
It's something really big.
And they're both all new. Starting with
Grandma's here.
Just Another New Day in the Neighborhood.
What are your options? I thought I could live with you. What?
All new Desperate Housewives and
I'm not being seen with you in this hospital.
it's the next great drama to watch on Sunday night.
God, you're hot. Shut up.
All new Grey's Anatomy after an all new Desperate Housewives. This Sunday starting at 9/8 Central only on ABC.
Well, the #1 movie in the country right now is Sin City, and its star is Bruce Willis. But when he dropped by the other day, we started by talking about politics. As you know, Willis is a Republican who campaigns for President Bush in a town of actors who largely campaign for Democrats. So we wanted to ask him about what actors increasingly say that they think Hollywood may be hurting liberal candidates. Does Willis agree? If you were giving advice to all the cadre of people who came out for John Kerry about what they should do the next time, what would you say?
Well, I wouldn't give them any advice because they're just citizens and they're certainly entitled to their opinion and who they want to support. I would have given John Kerry a little different advice. Yeah, I think he just assumed he was a shoo-in. He just assumed that he had it locked. And all he had to do was kind of show up and reintroduce himself.
But does something happen where Hollywood is defeating Democratic candidates?
I don't think that's true. I disagree. I think the liberal candidates are defeating themselves.
I'm honored to welcome to the podium Bruce Willis.
He didn't just vote for President Bush. Now he's working for him as the national spokesman for foster care children.
I'm very comfortable in my role working with the foster care program.
But it doesn't seem to get better. We keep reading.
Well, it's not going to get better overnight. You would think that in a world of computers and technology and everything that is at the government's fingertips to be able to help this system, that it's just not being done. The files are still handwritten. Files get lost. Kids get lost. The states don't talk to each other. The main thing is to get it computerized, is to bring it into the 21st century. And
how much could that cost, really?
Less than one bomb, less than one fighter jet, I would have to imagine.
Looking out for kids is his on-screen job, too, in his new movie, Sin City, where he's an honest cop in a tough town, trying to save a young girl.
Keep driving, Nancy. Keep driving and keep the car on the road.
The movie has everyone talking about its visual creativity, shot digitally on a green screen.
It's visually stunning. It really is. It's just an amazing visual thing. You'll go back and see it 3 times. I mean, just to see how cool it is. See that color green right there? Mm-hmm. That's what the interior of the soundstage looked like.
So you are acting inside your own imagination.
It's all imagined. And I kept thinking every day that I was going to imagine it the wrong way, and really has turned out well.
Just a few weeks ago, Willis turned 50, still single, which has his daughter Tallulah looking out for Dad.
I don't know if anything's changed. If anything, I have even more information about love and romance and the mythology of both those things. There are a lot of people that still believe in romance and finding your, what do they call it, your soulmate.
If Tallulah came up to you and once again said, "How's it going with girls, Dad?" Her famous question.
It still is a famous question.
What would you say?
It's going very slowly. I've really gotten comfortable being single. You know, I took a couple shots at it in the last few years, and it just didn't work out. I may be meant for bachelorhood.
Bruce Willis, and the movie Sin City is open now. When we come back, wonderful images of the Pope with children.
You didn't catch live? See all the fun you missed?
I can't reach.
See what Regis and Kelly are up to next. We've got Denzel Washington plus Fran Drescher next live.
Today at 9 on 7.
What I'm about to do should be impossible for another 6 months. At least that's what my first doctor said. So I found a new option at Henry Ford. It used an advanced technology to repair my spine without harming my back muscles. All I know is I walked out of the hospital in a few days, and the most important thing the other doctors said I couldn't do, thanks to Henry Ford, I can.
What solution do you need? We're Henry Ford. We can.
Hi friends, Chan Whitey for Jerome Duncan's Used Car Supercenter with 3 more great buys. How about a 2003 Ford Mustang? Buy this vehicle for only $11,995 or drive for $243 a month, no money down. How about a 1999 Grand Prix, only $64.95 or drive for $132 a month? And finally a 2002 Saturn, $74.95 or drive for $152 a month. Find out why we're Michigan's #1 Ford dealer. We have more used cars to choose from. 17.5 miles, Van Dyke.
Got bad news and good news. Bad news, 70%. 7 out of 10 of you will not get a good night's sleep tonight. Good news, you don't have to be one of them. Not when you get a brand new mattress from Gardner White.
Don't miss the huge Certain & Simmons price rollback. Premium mattress prices are cut in half. You save an extra $100 to $300 off the sale prices. And you pay nothing, no interest, no payments till July 2006. Gardner White then pays your sales tax with no minimum purchase required. Now through Sunday, but only at Gardner White.
The Pistons take on the Heat. Join Channel 7's Don Shane for an exclusive pregame look at the matchup as Rock Financial presents Pistons Game Day. Then, watch the Pistons battle Shaq and the Miami Heat. It all starts Sunday at noon, only on 7.
Jerry? All right, the Pope's touched the lives of millions. during his papacy, and we have the story this morning of 3 Americans who had but a brief brush with the Pope, but that brief brush changed their lives forever. December 6th, 1978. For Summer Herlihy, the most exciting day of her life. If only she could remember it.
Well, I was only 8 months old, so obviously I don't remember anything about the event.
Her parents, living in Rome at the time, took her to a Wednesday public audience with the Pope. It was early in John Paul's papacy.
He spotted Summer, and he came right to me. I was stunned. Everybody was stunned. And he just quickly plucks her away, and he's delighted and marches down the aisle with her. Then he kissed her, and the crowd was erupting. It was sensational.
It was a moment seen around the world, in newspapers and magazines.
And there's one shot where they're looking at each other's eyes, and it's pretty touching. I believe it was the first time he had done something like this. It was probably the start of his emphasis on children, the rights of children, youth, which became a main theme of his papacy.
Summer, now a doctor, says her special connection to John Paul will always be with her.
I felt so lucky that I felt that connection to someone who is the leader of so many.
Tom Coons was a 22-year-old computer programmer fresh out of college when he says Pope John Paul changed his life. It was October 1995.
We were on the street in Baltimore, and he came by in the Pope mobile, and I remember he looked me right in the eye, and I thought, wow.
At that very moment, he says he felt something.
This whole idea of the priesthood had come into my mind, and when he saw me, and when he looked in my eyes, I was shocked, and I thought, wait a minute, maybe this is something that I should be doing, and here I am today, because of the Holy Father.
He was ordained last year, and now is a priest in Rome. It was the well-known 1993 trip to Denver's World Youth Conference that Sean Cairns says he had his brush with His Holiness. Only Cairns was a special delegate, one of only 100, who spent 4 days in meetings with the Holy Father.
It doesn't get any better than this. I mean, the experience of meeting the Holy Father, kissing his ring, having him pray with you, and he spent a couple minutes with each of the delegates. We were allowed to talk about anything we wanted to talk to him about, and I asked him if he would give a special blessing for my wife and my new baby, who was our first at the time, and he said, "Oh, wonderful, wonderful, I'm very happy that you are pregnant."
12 years later, he fondly remembers how the Pope blessed him.
He just made you feel right at ease. Like it was, like, and I always say it's like a uncle that you haven't seen in a long time. And he was as happy to see you as you were to see him.
A few months after the Denver conference, his wife Maureen gave birth to their first child, Johnny.
It's really cool that my dad, out of anyone in the world, got to go up and talk to the Pope one-on-one.
But the blessing went further.
The Pope was actually handing out blessed rosary beads.
He gave me one rosary, and I had 4 others in my hand.
So he got the 1 set from the Pope, and the 4 that he had, he got blessed.
We have 5 children now, which I thought was just amazing that we had 5 rosaries and 5 children. You know, he taught me a great deal about the gift of life, especially in children, and how much he loved children and the youth, and that was just amazing for me.
Back with a final tribute to the Pope in a moment.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Warren Pierce on the road again here at the Novi Expo Center for the 2005 edition of the Spring Home and Garden Show. And certainly you don't need me to tell you what a long, cold, hard winter it is. So this is the perfect spot to stop this weekend to get some great ideas for spring and the summer months to come as well. They've got 500 exhibits and displays with the experts on hand. And take a look at this. They set up 30,000 square feet of beautiful landscaping ideas. And you talk about landscaping, you'll get to meet the experts as well, like Roger Swain of the Victory Garden. And Joan Cohn's going to be here too with great ideas for the kitchen, bath, and bedroom area as well. And speaking of the bathroom area, you think you've got the ugliest one? You could win $10,000 brand new bathroom. Free prizes every day as well. Kids under 12, free. The doors open at 12 today, 10 tomorrow and Sunday. Easy to get to on Novi Road at I-96.
Why'd you wake me? No Angel Soft. You could have changed it. We work together, like Angel Soft's 2 layers. You know, an extra one to get the job done. Don't forget, it's made just right. Soft, but not too soft. Can I go back to bed? Not yet. Dad left the seat up, too. Who doesn't? Women. It's one of the biggest complaints they have about men.
Look for Angel Soft today at your neighborhood Meijer. Angel Soft. Comfort where you want it.
Why do women need the seat down?
Well, you really don't know squat.
Gardner White's 93rd anniversary. So what? Here's what. This is a really big deal for you and your home. You're never going to save more money than you will right now. Plus, you paid nothing till July 2006. Nothing down. No interest, no payments till July 2006. And they're going to pay your sales tax. And only at Gardner White, no minimum purchase. Yeah, no minimum purchase, period.
It's like this. The money you save is Gardner White's anniversary gift to you. Don't miss this sale. It's on now.
Nobody can do what Maaco does. Maaco can repaint your entire car, fast. In most cases, just a few days. Our economical ambassador paint service is only $229. Make it easy, make it right, make it Maaco.
Become a part of the Madonna University family. Live on campus or commute to one of our convenient Metro Detroit locations. The main campus in Livonia, the Downriver Center in Southgate, or the Orchard Lake Center.
Academy Award winner Billy Bob Thornton on the next Jane Pauley Show.
Have a good weekend, everyone. And you too, Charlie. See you Monday.
All right, Diane, I just want to finish by reading a piece of poetry that Karol Wojtyła, Pope John Paul II, wrote. And it really speaks to his funeral today. He said, "From dust you came, and to dust you shall return. What had shape is now shapeless. What was alive is now dead. What was beautiful is now the ugliness of decay. And yet I do not altogether die. What is indestructible in me remains. What is imperishable in me now stands face to face before him who is." We felt it proper to close today with some wonderful pictures of the Pope. See you Monday.
As the world mourns the passing of Pope John Paul II, stay with ABC News to follow all the breaking updates from the Vatican and around the globe. ABC News, television, radio, internet, wireless, and broadband. This is ABC News.